Hi everyone, this is Irina Dimitrova, consultant and trainer on Business with Meaning. Today I'd like to talk to you about hopefully an interesting topic about the life book and how this relates to astrology, because there's clearly a link. I'm sure that many of you have heard of the life book as offered in a training by John and Missy Butcher on Mind Valley. And I took the course a few months ago, and I found it very interesting, although it could be explained in much simpler terms, which I'd like to offer you right now. And I'd like to also make the link of how it relates to astrology, because there's a clear link. It's more than obvious for anybody who knows the houses in astrology. So let me briefly explain what the life book is. It is basically a system where you define in detail what you think, what you believe, what your goals are, and what your strategies are in each of the 12 categories of life that are suggested by the life book. And this will help throw your consciousness and your intention onto each area of life, and in return shape it in a way that you would like to have it. Now, if you think about it, most of us, basically anybody, including myself, you think about something that you'd like to achieve, and it's just one thing at a time. You rarely think about 10 things at the same time. And you're usually thinking about the thing that either doesn't work or you'd like it to look completely different, because if there's no change, why would you think about it? But it's, and this is supposedly a mistake that we are all making, because at some point when you stop thinking about something and you draw your consciousness out of it, it starts becoming stale, and it starts losing its light, basically. If you stop putting your energy and your effort and your consciousness in a relationship, of course it's going to wither and fall apart eventually. Hopefully not, but in many cases. If you don't put any consciousness and attention to your children, then you can't complain if they've turned out horrible brags or if they're unsuccessful in their life, because you haven't put any effort into developing their thinking. So the reasoning behind the life book is that whatever you want in life, you have to think about it clearly, sit down, describe everything that you want, and make a strategy of how you're going to achieve it. Set up a time, specific time of whenever you're going to execute the activities. And this is how you make sure that you achieve what you want in life, rather than rely on pure chance. Of course, if you know astrology, you know that very often we are prone to thinking about certain areas of life more than others, because it's a clock. The astrology is like the planets are like a clock. They point tick-tock. Once the arrow shows 12, which shows, let's say, your spiritual life, then another planet activates another house, the third house. Then you start thinking about your intellectual life, what you want to learn, what you want to communicate, and so on. And so these cycles are naturally driven. But if you focus on them consciously, you can improve them at any point in time. At least this is the supposition of this training program called the Life Book. And I've applied a few of the findings or of the definitions I had for my houses, and I can tell you that it definitely shows an improvement. All right, so let me first show you what the categories are, so that you know what we're talking about, and see how they relate to the astrology houses. And then I'm going to go through the methodology, so you can do it yourself real quick, hopefully. I'm going to explain the methodology fast, but as a matter of fact, it's a lot of work for you to start explaining and describing everything of each area of life. All right, so here are the 12 categories as described in the original course of the Life Book. These are character, quality of life, intellectual life, emotional life, parenting, health and fitness, love relationships, financials, life vision, career, social life, spiritual life. Of course, you can see that they directly relate to the meaning of the astrology houses, but they take more of personalized view. For example, the fourth house. The fourth house's first meaning is home, but in the life book, it is emotional life, because this is the most personalized view you can take. And the life book is all about what we can influence ourselves, changing our perspective to things to influence our areas of life. What is important here is that by influencing one category or one house, in this case, in the case of astrology, you can influence or improve other areas of life. For example, if you were to improve your health and fitness, logically, but also by trying in astrology, you would improve your career and you would start making more money. In a logical sense, you would feel more upbeat, more energized. Your mind will be clearer, so you'd be able to perform better at work and you'd be able to make more money. Of course, this is a trine in astrology. So this would be the easiest way for you to influence any of these three houses or any of these three categories by trying in astrology. And so take any other example. Let's take love relationships, social life, and siblings. If you think about it, your love relationship has, or your partner already has with them some sort of a social circle. So if you have a love relationship or a good connection with your partner, then you're more likely also to have an improved social life. And social life means also the relationship that you have with the family of origin and with the family of origin of your partner. You can influence any of these three, anything by trying with the other two. But in general, it's not only by trying. If you improve any sphere of life, your vibration will increase and you'd be able to lift up your entire self. So any improvement, anywhere you shine on your consciousness on, will improve your entire life. Let me show you what the process is right now. First, the first thing we need to define in each category is what our beliefs are. Very often we have beliefs that are not conducive to what we want, and we want to eliminate those beliefs. Sometimes we know that our beliefs are not doing us any good. Sometimes we don't. Well, hopefully we're able to think, and the process is that you start discovering your beliefs. You sit down, you take a piece of paper, and you start thinking, what do I really believe in? Let's say about relationships. Do I believe that I am worthy of love? Do I believe that my partner is equal to me? Do I believe that a love relationship enhances my entire life? Do I believe that we are competing for something? You have to put down your beliefs and then replace them with the beliefs that you think are most beneficial for this category of life. Here we don't want to put the now, we want to put the ideal, what we're aiming for. So we want to put beliefs that will bring us the best results. The second part of the method is to define your vision of each area of life. What do I want to achieve? For me, it's easier to talk about relationships. I don't know why. Maybe because I've thought the most about this sphere of life. But how do you want this sphere in life to look and feel? What do you want to be doing? This is how you define your vision. Take a scene of your future life and describe, what does a day look like? What does an hour look like together with this person? What do you do together? How do you spend your time? How often do you see each other? Do you live together? What do you do in your spare time? How do you interact? How do you communicate? How do you exchange signs and messages of love? This is all about the vision. The picture that you see, which is your ideal picture in each sphere of life. The next thing, step number 3, is to define our purpose. Why do you want to achieve what you want to achieve? What motivates you? Well, very often we think that we want to achieve something, but these are fake goals imposed by society, imposed by by life in general, very often we don't really know what our soul desires. And the purpose here is actually to dig out what you really want, why you want a certain thing. Now, you shouldn't skip this step, because this is what will give you the motivation. I will give you an example here with the 5th category, which is children. I'll give you an example from my life book. And the purpose, that the why that I've put there is, I want, whatever I have set in my vision about my child, but my purpose is that I live on through my child, and my greatest contribution that I can give on to this world is to raise somebody who lives on purpose, who lives with meaning. So this is my greatest contribution that I believe I can make to this world. Of course, I can hopefully, enlighten the lives of other people, but my belief about my child goes much deeper. And so this is what my purpose that drives me to execute a strategy that will help me reach my vision. It's a bit twisted, but it is, as a matter of fact, the same process as in business planning. In strategy planning, you go through the same process. Your beliefs are actually your values in a company strategy. Then you talk about vision, the purpose, which is the mission, and then the strategy. It's exactly the same process. So it is well tested. So this is what I mean by that. And then finally, the strategy is, what are the exact actions and steps you would like to take to achieve your vision? What attitudes and habits do you need to change or create? So one of the things you may want to change are attitudes or habits that, let's say in the case of a child, if you get angry fast, or if you tend to neglect them, then you know that you need a strategy that let's say you start playing with them on a regular basis, or you spend at least 2-3 times with 2-3 hours with full attention onto them. These are just examples that I'm giving you. And now let me read you. I'll read you the 7th category of my life book, just to give you an idea of what this is, of how I've made it. I've just given one example of in each category, but when you start writing them out, I recommend you to write pages and pages. Just let it pour out and describe all your beliefs, all your visions in detail. You can give it a full page to each of the each step for each category. So my belief in love relationships. I believe that together we can achieve anything. My vision is that we are an unshakable team, and we always have our best intentions at heart. Purpose: to show our children what they should expect out of life, to make sure that they have high standards for their own life, love life. And strategy: commit to spending sacred time by creating connection rituals. For example, have weekly date nights. We implemented having weekly date nights on Thursdays, and this has changed a lot in our lives. So, this is just one simple strategy that I can tell you immediately worked. So I think I described more or less what the life book is all about. Again, the most important thing is that improving and shining your light, shining your consciousness on one area of life will improve other areas of life as well, gradually, or, timing has not been discussed there. It depends on each person. Now, I would also like to invite you to join my program, Start a Business with Meaning. I'm giving a special discount that I'll put in the description of this video. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, shoot me an email.